All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we've got a story for you that is just fantastic. It's a little slice of local history from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and it's got everything. A mispronounced name, a bunch of high school kids, and believe it or not, a whole lot of eggs.
I know. It sounds like something straight out of a children's storybook, right? But nope. This was a very real, very chaotic event dreamed up back in the early 1960s by a group of high school students who basically just decided to make their own fun.
In this photo, this just says it all. It's this beautiful flotilla of chaos. Just a jumble of homemade rafts and teenagers ready for an adventure. But to really get what's happening here, we've got to rewind. Way back. All the way to a high school gym class and a single, kind of funny-sounding name.
So, where did this all begin? Well, like so many great stories, right? It all kicks off with something totally random and hilarious. You can just picture it, can't you? The PE coach is trying to get teams together. He gets to a kid named David Alspaugh and just doesn't even try. He just blurts out, Applesauce. And of course, the kids thought it was the funniest thing ever. And you know how nicknames are. It got shortened to Applesauce, and boom, it stuck.
And that one little nickname, the kind that starts as a joke in PE class, well, it was about to become the name for something way, way bigger.
Right, because this wasn't just David Alspaugh's nickname anymore. Oh no, it grew into this whole unofficial social club.
They called it the Applesauce League, and they were basically the anti-fraternity. There was no formal organization whatsoever. No president, no secretary, no treasurer, none of that formal stuff. It was just a bunch of friends who felt like the official school clubs weren't for them, so they said, fine, we'll make our own.
And their events were just as wild as the club itself. A tackle football game in 10 inches of snow called the Toilet Bowl? Come on. They had their own track meets, their own dances, even a girls' tackle football league. It was like they were sending a message, right? You don't need some official stamp of approval to have a good time and build your own community. But the real masterpiece, the thing that cemented their legend in local history, that was the Applesauce Regatta. And oh man, the way they put this thing together was pure genius.
And get this is the actual entry blank. And if you wanted in, you had to follow some, well, let's call them unique rules for building your yacht.
The instructions were just brilliantly simple, totally DIY. Step 1, get some inner tubes. Step 2, build a frame out of pretty much anything, a ladder, a wash tub, whatever. And my absolute favorite is step 4, pump up tubes and try her out. It's just pure, unadulterated teenage ingenuity. But you gotta love the list of required provisions. 15 moon pies and a case of RC Cola per person. But the best part, the absolute key, 1 gross of grade A large eggs, with the very clear instruction, these ain't to eat. They were ammunition. And the boat names? Bad Banana, Apple Crap 7. This wasn't just a race. It was a declaration of wonderful creative chaos. Okay, so picture this. It's April 1962, a beautiful spring day, and this fleet of wonderfully bizarre contraptions hits the Clinch River for the first ever Applesauce Regatta. Look at this. These photos are incredible. They give us a real glimpse of what it was like. On the left there, that's the Apple Crap 7, seen from a bridge. The original caption even points out its egg missile. And on the right, you get a sense of the whole makeshift fleet, just cruising down the river.
The whole race was about 8 miles. Now, the river was flowing pretty fast back then, so it only took about an hour. But here's the thing. A lot of the boats were way slower. Why? Well, because the rowers were a little busy, chucking eggs and cans of, yep, you guessed it, applesauce at each other.
So a winner was actually declared, a vessel called the Francis X. Tishman. But in perfect Applesauce League style, it couldn't end without some drama. An official protest was filed right away, claiming the winners used illegal oars. Was the protest ever settled? Of course not. That would be too normal. It just adds to the legend, right? So yeah, there were protests, there was a massive food fight on the water, but at the end of the day, that wasn't really the point. The whole point was just to have an absolute blast. So you're probably wondering, what happened to this amazing, weird tradition? Did it go on for decades? Well, not quite. The original regatta was actually pretty short-lived. See, after 1963, a new dam was built and it slowed the river's current way down. So what used to be a fun 1-hour float suddenly became a super long, grueling paddle. Yeah, not so fun anymore. So the original event just kind of faded away. But its legacy, well, that lived on. And this is what's so cool. The event was so legendary in town that the name, the Applesauce, it got picked up by later generations for their own river floats and raft races. This clipping here is literally announcing the return of the Applesauce, proving that even if the new events were bigger and more organized, they were still trying to capture that same fun, rebellious spirit.
When you really boil it all down, the Applesauce Regatta is just a perfect example of how the best, most memorable traditions can start from the smallest, silliest things. I mean, think about it. A joke about a name in gym class turned into this unforgettable local legend.
It's just such a great reminder that you don't need a huge budget or some official permission to create a lasting memory. Sometimes, all it really takes is a few friends, a couple of inner tubes, and maybe a few dozen eggs. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What kind of awesome, quirky traditions started in your own town just because someone decided to have a little fun?